Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking about greed. But don't forget to stay tuned to the very end for our pounds and inches update.
All right, so in Greed, you take on the role of a gang. And in that gang...
Not the fun gang, though. Not like, hey, gang, let's go hang out tonight.
Right. No, this is, hey, gang, let's go shoot people tonight.
Greed.
So in Greed, you are acquiring businesses that you're going to use to launder money with. You're acquiring thugs that you're going to use to do your dirty work for you. You've got action cards. There's kind of this really cool, unique card drafting method that kind of does it all. So let me show you how that works. All right, so the setup for Greed is pretty easy. Really, you just have a deck of cards. It plays 2 to 5 players, and you're going to deal each player 12 cards. This is a card drafting game, so what you're going to do is you're going to take one card out of that hand of 12, and you're going to pass the rest to the left. But you're not going to play any cards quite yet. You're going to do that one more time. You're going to, take the cards that you just got. It should be 11 now. Take one of them, pass the rest. Now you're going to have 10 once you get those. You're going to do a third time, and then you're going to finally play a card. So basically, you're going to have a hand of 3 cards the whole rest of the game. So now that you've got your first 3 cards, you're ready to play your first card. There are 3 kinds of cards in the game. There are holdings, which are businesses. There are thugs, which are characters that you can play. And we also have actions. Thugs will give you certain prerequisites on the top left over here. She provides a vehicle. And also some abilities. So this says if you have no money, gain $10,000 each turn. So at the beginning of the game, you don't start with anything. So this would be a great first card to play. You'd have a thug out there plus a vehicle, and you'd get $10,000 right away since you don't start the game with any money. You'd put her out there in front, and then we'd draft some more. Some cards have prerequisites. For instance, this one says you need a vehicle, just like she provided, but you also need a holding, which is going to give us, some alcohol. If you're able to have both of those, you can gain $25,000 by playing that smuggling card. So the needs kind of act like prerequisites, whereas other cards have costs. Now this is a holding. This is a business, basically. This is a legitimate business, but you are using it to launder money through. So it's going to cost you $15,000 in order to kind of buy a share in this building. But you're going to get a couple things from it. First of all, it gives you a liquor right there, an alcohol. So that's going to be one of the things that you're going to use to kind of build off of and get some more holdings. There's also special ability. That particular card says place 2 extra markers on this. So for every one of those symbols that you have in play, including itself, you get a holding. Plus, in that case, it says place 2 extra. So we're going to do a total of 3 of these. Each one of those holdings is worth $10,000 at the end of the game. So here is another holding. This one has a prerequisite of having 2 of those keys. We don't have any out here, but just pretend we do. We have 2 of those keys. When we play this, we would get 1 holding for the wrench, 1 holding for the alcohol bottle, plus 1 more for that one. So we would get, again, a total of 3 holdings on that card. We're going to play a total of 10 rounds. And at the end of the game, you're going to have 2 cards left over in your hand. Because, again, we kind of started the game with 2 extra rounds of drafting. So you end the game with 2 cards unplayed. At the end of that 10th and final round, you add up all the cash you've accumulated over the course of the game, plus $10,000 for each one of these holdings. And whoever has the most money wins the game.
So I think it's really neat in this game that you could potentially see all the cards that are going to be in play before the game really starts. When you draft those cards and you have to have your starting hand of 3 cards before you play one, I just think that's really neat that you could see what might even be out there, because you don't play with the full deck, but you could have the potential, if you're really good at memorizing cards, which I am not, to know what's out there before the game begins. And I just think that's really neat.
I like kind of the dual layers of the drafting. So first, you take a card and you pass the rest. That's, what we've seen in a lot of games when you're drafting. Take a card, pass the rest. Take a card, pass the rest. But what you're doing is you're drafting them into a hand of cards. And then from there, you're going to play one of those cards out of your hand of cards. So it's kind of a 2-step thing. So you might, draft a card thinking that you're going to do one thing with it and end up being not the best thing for you right then, so you have to switch up and use a different card in your hand. So there's kind of a multiple layer to the drafting that you do in this game. It's kind of unique.
I think that this game is pretty easy to teach, and it plays fairly quick too.
And I love that it's quick. And the reason is so I don't have to play it any longer. This is not a game that I enjoy playing. It's not a game that I recommend. And you know what? It has to do largely with the theme. They could have put a lot of different themes on this game, and for whatever reason, they chose that violent gang theme. And there's a lot of kind of adult. It's not X-rated or R-rated,
No. Yeah.
but it kind of dabbles in R-rated things like strip clubs and brothels and stuff like that. And it's not a game that we can play with our kids.
Yeah, not that we play all our games with our kids, but I definitely have this exact same sentiment. I am accepting the fact that this is normal people's prude level, and I'm up here, so I'm totally owning that is me. But because of that, I did not enjoy this game nearly as much as I wanted to. When the last time we played it, I didn't even I just looked at the iconography and kind of ignored the theme. But I shouldn't have to force myself to do that for a game in order for it to live on our shelf. So it will move on to the next person. With all of that said, the mechanics of it are still pretty strong. Mm-hmm. And so if that theme doesn't bother you as much, you'd probably like it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into card drafting, if this is a theme that does not bother you, give it a try. It's got kind of a cool stuff, some cool things going on with it. So is there a place for the market on this game? Yeah, absolutely. Is there a place on our shelf for it? No, not this one. We're going to pass.
Well, don't forget to stay tuned to the very end for our Pounds and Inches update. Until then, you can always subscribe to us on YouTube under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. You can follow us on Facebook under Ryan and Bethany. You can also follow us on Instagram under Ryan and Bethany, and follow us on Twitter under Ryan and Bethany 1.
All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks everybody for staying tuned until the very end for our Pounds and Inches update. I am a runner who is not running right now, and it's driving me crazy. My sweet spot was running on my lunches, but I'm not at work right now. I'm working from home. And I do have a mileage goal that I'm trying to get. So what I'm doing is I'm just adjusting, and I am having my girls and I go for really long walks. So we would go about 2-3 miles every day, not every day, but a lot of days. And so I'm not running, but I'm still getting the mileage that I want every day. So I'm still moving in the right direction. So I just want to encourage everybody, if you're not making these huge strides, if you're making small steps in the right direction, those are still small steps in the right direction.
All right, very cool. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.